The human brain is a marvel of creation, intricately designed to seek meaning and connection. During Ramadan, this quest for spiritual fulfillment is heightened. Fasting activates areas of the brain that are associated with empathy, self control, and reflection. Join us this Thursday at 6:15 p.m. for an enlightening lecture by Dr. Daniel Abdulrahman McBride on the fascinating connection between the brain, religion, and Ramadan.
Ask Sister Laila live. Sister Laila live. Weekly for the show at the hour. Ask Sister Laila live. Sister Layla. Invite your friends and family. Get cozy. Ask Sister Laila. Oh, yeah. And don't forget to join us in the 24-hour Zoom room for behind the scenes access.
Hey, everybody. Inna alhamdulillah. Wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Tonight is supposed to be, this is supposed to be our Met Siddiq Tafsir class, whereas I usually would go over the book, the Met Siddiq Tafsir by Dr. Kareem Abu Zaid. But because of some of the questions that you guys were asking me today and yesterday, some of the new shahadas, I decided to do something a little differently. It seems like all of you, as the new shahadas, are, basically saying the same thing. That why is it that, when you listen, we have all these Muslims on social media platforms speaking about Islam, lecturing about Islam, telling you about Islam. But some of the things that they're saying, in fact, most of the things they're saying are so weird, and they're not connecting together. Many of you complain about how that a lot of the people that you listen to on YouTube and social platforms, they speak about Islam, and instead of referencing their knowledge to the Quran or referencing their knowledge to what the Prophet said or the companions, it's always some sheikh, some scholar, someone else. To the point where one of the brothers has asked several times here, who do we listen to? Sister Layla, do we listen to the companions or do we listen to the scholars? I mean, and that's kind of sad when I get questions as a daya, when I get questions from Muslims asking me who's right, the companions or the scholars. That lets me know as a daya that something is wrong, that we have a serious problem as Muslims, a serious problem, whereas Muslims today don't understand, they're being tugged away from the true Islam, and when you listen to social media, these brothers are 100% correct. Because when I listen to some of these du'a or these people speak about Islam, I'm like, what are they talking about? Because they're reading from books written by men instead of reading from the whole hadiths. They're my sheikh said this, sheikh so and so said that, imam so and so said this, scholar this said that, mufti this. I'm like, oh my God. So tonight, what I'm gonna do, you guys hear me say every day. I'm always saying that these are the days of fitin. These are the days that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke that would come to be for the later generations, which is our generation, where Islam has become strange. Islam is this is not the real Islam that we're seeing. This is not the traditional Islam that we're seeing. This is not the Islam that our Prophet Muhammad came with. This is not the Islam that all the other prophets of Allah submitted themselves to. You know, this is something different. And so, what I decided to do is share for this class tonight a hadith, one of my favorite hadiths, that when I was growing up here in America, back in the 60s, when Islam was really strange, because people didn't know what Islam was. They thought that Islam was the nation of Islam. They thought that Elijah Muhammad, you know, was a prophet of Allah, astaghfirullah. And I was the only person in my, not just, you know, my community, but in my city and school, because you know, who was not upon that. I was always upon the traditional Islam, which is what the Prophet Muhammad came with. And it was strange. And my stepfather, I was raised by my stepfather. My real father died. He was Arabic, and I didn't know him well. He died when I was, what, 6 years old or something like that? I don't even remember. But my stepfather raised me, and he was a good man. He was an African American man, and he raised me. And he used to tell me this hadith whenever I would get out of hand. Uh, he would sit me down and he would reiterate this hadith to me. And I want to just share it with you guys today. And whenever my stepfather would teach me this hadith and go over the meaning of it with me, it always brought peace to my heart. Living in a society and an environment where I was the only one who was different. I was nothing like any of the other kids. I didn't look like them. I didn't behave like them. I didn't dress like them. I didn't speak like them. I was not of them. Yet, you know, I was better than them. And I knew it. And a lot of the kids today don't think this way, and they don't have that self-esteem that I had. So I'm going to switch the topic to this one hadith in hopes that it'll give all of my new shahadas, you know, the faith and the strength to carry on with this religion and to stay upon the straight path, the traditional Islam, you know, and leave alone those YouTube channels with these brothers who are praying in the streets, Taraweeh in the streets. What a sacrilege. If the Prophet Muhammad were living today, if any of those original companions were living today and saw these Muslims taking the Taraweeh prayer, which is something sacred during this month, and instead of getting the rewards of forgiveness by praying in the mosque behind the imam, as the prophet said, they're praying in the streets with prostitutes, drug addicts, alcoholics, naked women, kafirs, spit, pollution, and filth, and dogs walking around. If any of those companions were here, they just turn their away from us, and they would question if any of us are even Muslim at all. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen so I can share this hadith with everyone listening to me today. And again, bear with me because I just threw this hadith together, the PowerPoint that is, not the hadith. And what is the hadith? This is the hadith that my stepfather used to sit down and share with me on a regular basis. And it's also taken from advice that our prophet gave to the young companions. And that hadith is be in this world as if you are a stranger or a traveler. So let's talk about this beautiful hadith. Okay. This hadith is narrated to us from the authentic Sunnah from Ibn Umar. For those of you who don't know who Ibn Umar was, he was the son of Umar, radiallahu anhu, and he was a young boy. And he was one who was so sincere in his faith and belief that our prophet loved him as if he were his own son. Even though Umar was his best friend, he loved Ibn Umar as if he were his son. And our prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, made dua for him, asking Allah to give Ibn Umar a deep understanding of this Quran and make him, a person who will be with him in paradise. Well, Ibn Umar shares with us that one day when he was a young boy, the prophet took him by the shoulder and he said to him, be in this world as if you were a stranger or a traveler on a path. And Ibn Umar tells us that he never forgot these words, nor did he ever forget the meaning behind them, because the older he became, the meaning became more apparent to him. In fact, other people, other companions said they would hear him say this frequently. They would hear Ibn Umar say, when he became a great teacher, he used to say to his students, if you live to see the evening, then do not expect to live to see the morning. And if you live to see the morning, then do not expect to live to see the evening. Take from your health before sickness overtakes you, and take from your life before death overpowers you. Subhanallah. These are the words that Ibn Umar used to say to his students as a result of sharing what the prophet said to him, to be in this life as if you were a stranger or a traveler on a road. Subhanallah. So this hadith is one of my favorite hadiths. And it's a hadith that my stepfather, may Allah bless him and forgive him of his sins. Ameen. And may Allah make his grave spacious. Ameen. It's a hadith that my stepfather used to often share with me when I was a kid, ages 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Because this hadith is the foundation of hope in this life, and to not go over in your hope. Remember, Islam is all about balance. Allah commands us to be people of dignity, people of humility and balance. You don't want to lean too far to the right, nor lean too far to the left. We want to be balanced in our behavior, balanced in our speech, balanced in our eating habits, balanced in our sleeping habits, balanced in our love, balanced in our hate. So this hadith is the foundation for limiting our hope in this world. As people who are Muslims, striving to become believers, we must not take this life or this world as a permanent place of residence, nor should we attach our heart too much to this world. And this is what we see these brothers doing today. These brothers that we're looking at on social media, And we're asking, why are they doing Taraweeh prayer in Times Square? Didn't we just read the hadith where the prophet said your prayer should be in the mosque, not the marketplace? Didn't we just read the verse of the Quran where Allah says that the mosque are the houses of Allah and they are maintained by the believers? So why are these brothers? Why are these brothers making the mosque a place of abandonment? Why are these brothers leaving the masajid and gathering the people together to pray in a filthy street with cameras while these brothers pose on TV like they're famous celebrities with sunglasses on and hijabs on and gowns and go on and silver and gold necklaces, some of them on? This is because these brothers need to ponder this hadith and not take this life and make it your permanent residence and not attach their heart to this world. It's all about fame. It's all about money. It's all about the Guinness Book of Records. It's all about being on TV, on CNN News. So this advice that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to Ibn Umar is the same advice that the other prophets, Moses, Abraham, Jesus, and all the others lived by too. And this is something that we need to be reminded of today in 2025 as Islam becomes strange, as the Sunnah becomes forgotten, and as the Sunnah becomes abandoned. Listen to what Allah tells us who believe in him about Pharaoh. Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning that Pharaoh told his people, he said, "Oh, my people, truly this life of the world, okay, is the best. But look at what Allah said in return. He said, "Oh, my people, truly this life of the world is nothing but a quick passing enjoyment, and the hereafter is the home that will remain forever." Those brothers and sisters that we see on social media who have twisted this religion and turned it into something that's a subscriber list of who can get the most followers, who can make the most money off of people watching their ridiculous videos on Islam. They need to be reminded that nothing in this world is forever. Death can come at any moment. You can be standing up in Times Square, looking at the camera, praying Taraweeh, and somebody rides past on a motorcycle and knocks you over on the ground and kills you. Or you could be standing there on Times Square praying Taraweeh, and a crazy drug addict just decides, "I'm sick of looking at these people." He decides to come out of a store and start shooting and take your life. That quick. Like the prophet said in another hadith, the last deed that we do could determine if we end up in paradise or hell. Here you are on TV showing off. Like Allah says, there will come the time where some people will beautify their prayers. But they're not doing it for Allah. They're doing it for the men, to be seen of mankind. Here, what looked to be a good deed, you weren't doing it for Allah. You were doing it to set the Guinness Book of Records. You were doing it because you want to be famous. You should have been doing that Taraweeh prayer in the mosque behind the Imam, as the Prophet Muhammad said. But because you chose to get more YouTube subscribers, more money, more fame. That's the deed that you die upon. Can you imagine that? Again, this life is nothing but a quick passing enjoyment. The hereafter is forever. So we have to be conscious of the choices we make in this world, guys. It's easy to be tempted with money, fame, women, power. It's easy to succumb to that. It's harder to resist the fame, resist the money, and say, I choose Allah over all of those temporary pleasures. Listen to what Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. Listen to what he used to say to the people. He used to say, certainly this life has begun to travel away, but the hereafter has already started traveling forward, and each of them has their children. So be from the children of the hereafter, and do not be from the children of this world. For indeed, today there is action with no account, but tomorrow there will be action with no account. So again, guys, what choices are we making? What choices are we making? This world is temporary. There's people that will have everything in this world. Allah will give them all the money like Pharaoh had, all the fame, all the glory. But when they die, what do they take with them? That money doesn't follow them. That fame doesn't follow them. YouTube doesn't follow them. Their subscribers don't follow them. The only thing that follows us are our deeds. What good deeds do we have? Many of us will have burned our good deeds because we did them not with the intention of pleasing Allah, but with the intention of pleasing man, looking for fame. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said one of the first group of people that will be dragged by their faces and flung into the hellfire on the day of judgment were those men and women who called themselves scholars. Allah is going to ask them, what did you do with the knowledge I gave you? They will say, oh, we gave dawah for your sake. We set up dawah booths. We argued and debated the religion with the kafir. We held a protest. Okay, we prayed in the streets of New York City and all the big cities of the world. Allah will say, don't lie to me. You didn't do that for me. You did that for yourself. You wanted the people to think you were a famous celebrity. You wanted the people to think you were a scholar. You wanted the people to think you were a person of knowledge, when in reality, you didn't even know the basics. That the reward of the man's prayer is in the mosque. And the reward of the woman's prayer is in her home. So get ye in the hellfire. There's going to be a lot of people that we see on social media who we think are famous scholars. They're going to be in the hellfire, guys. And the sad reality is, our prophet said they'll be standing on a treadmill with their guts spilled out. And you will recognize them. You will say, oh, look, there's Sheikh so-and-so. There's Mufti so-and-so. There's Ustada so-and-so. There's Imam so-and-so. And you will say, what are you doing here? You used to have YouTube channels. You used to talk about Islam. You used to lead prayers in Times Square. You used to do this. You used to do that. And that person will look at you and say, yes, but I failed to enjoying the good, and I failed to enjoying the evil for myself. So now look at me. I'm walking around on a treadmill with my guts spilled out in the hellfire. The shame. Don't be tricked by the people that you see today. Remember, guys, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said each generation of Muslims will become worse than the previous generation. And to the last generation that's living on earth at the time of the day of judgment will all be kafir. Even though they will all claim to be Muslim, not one of them will be a believer. Well, as of 2023, we are the present generation. If the day of judgment were to come right now, that means we would all be in the hellfire. We would all be kafir, even though we think we ain't. The best of this nation were those who were with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then those that came after them and came after them and came after them. The present people of today, we are the worst. How can you say, based on that hadith, that a man today who calls himself a sheikh, a scholar, a mufti, and all these other terms they're using, he knows this religion better than the early scholars, better than the original companions? When Allah tells you that each generation will become further away from the true Islam, we're nothing today. We're nothing compared to those that came before us. We're worse. And when we turn on CNN News, we see that. When we turn on YouTube and social media, we hear it. The ignorance of this nation. And we wonder why Allah has sent his war. Listen to what Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Who was Umar ibn Abdul Aziz? He was the grandson of Umar radiallahu anha. Ibn Umar was Umar's son. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was his grandson, and he also became the fifth caliph, or the fifth caliph. Listen to what he said in one of his khutbahs. He said, "This life in this world is not your permanent home. Allah has prescribed for your life to end, and he has prescribed for the people of this world to leave it. How often has a thriving population of people been destroyed for something insignificant? And how often has a happy person been made to leave for something insignificant? So prepare well, my people, and may Allah have mercy on you, because the journey with the best of what you have of preparations, and take provisions, for the best of provisions is not protesting, not boycotting. It's what I told you earlier, taqwa, which means consciousness of Allah, fear of his punishment, hoping for his reward, his fame, not the fame of man, not the fame of this world. This is how the early companions were. This is how those tabi'in were. They were the best. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz runs rings around any human being, man or woman of today, in his knowledge and understanding of this deen. What would he say were he living today and saw you Muslim men and filthy women? And I say filthy women because for a woman to stand up in the public with her derriere in the air, you're a filthy woman. You're a disgrace to Islam. What would Umar ibn Abdul Aziz say were he living today to see the masajids around New York City abandoned and the filthy street of Times Square with all the filth there, filled with you women and men with your cameras and your sunglasses on and your jewelry on your fingers and around your necks as you claim you praying, but we see your eye on the camera. You ain't even focused on the spot on the filthy ground where your head is gonna hit. It's all about, is this my best side? How many hits I'm getting ready to get now from YouTube? How popular am I getting ready to become now across the world? Are they going to think I'm a scholar now? What would Umar ibn Abdulaziz say? What would any of the originals say to see you people behaving as you are behaving, especially during this sacred month? The masjids should be filled. The masjids should be filled, not the marketplace, not the streets and filth, scum areas of the earth. And then I heard one of the brothers say in his YouTube video, Islam will always prevail. Yes, it will. Not because of you. We have to remember, guys, there is no power. There is no might other than Allah, not you. Islam will prevail whether you pray in Times Square or not. You have nothing to do with the prevalence of Islam. Allah is the protector of this deen, not you. You're a disgrace to it. You are a disgrace to it. You are a disgrace, but you did get it right. Islam will always prevail, but not because of you nor the minions who follow you. Y'all understand that? There is no power. There is no might other than Allah. So, if this world is not a permanent home for us, or if this world is not the homeland for the true believer, then the true believer's situation in this world must be either one of two things. Either we are strangers, either we are people whom Allah created and we put here in this world as a stranger. And Allah surrounded us with a lot of good and wonderful things and told us what's lawful. He also explained to us what's unlawful. So either we're living here as a stranger with our main concern being to take the good from this world so we can return back to our real homeland, our real home, which is paradise. Or we're to live in this world as a traveler. Allah put us here on this earth as a traveler to not make any place here permanent. Instead, every night and every day of our journey here on earth is going to be spent trying to find our way back to our real home, which is paradise. So I'm going to travel lightly. I'm going to travel lightly. Just take what I can carry as I find my way back home to Allah. So this is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised Ibn Umar to live in either one of those two conditions. He said, either live in this world as a stranger, trying to find your way back to Allah, or as a traveler, seeking the means to get back to your home. Okay? So in order to do that, you have to abandon the things here in this world that can cause you to become trapped, such as the fame that these brothers have succumbed to, the money that these brothers have succumbed to, the women, whatever it is, whatever things here in this world that have trapped you and is keeping you, causing you to make it your home, you have to abandon it. You have to be a stranger. The stranger doesn't get too close to anyone. He doesn't get too close to anything. I'm going to sit on the internet and I'm going to teach Islam the way I do. I'll sit here all day if I have to, answering questions about the deen, because that's what the Prophet did. I'm going to make sure that all the answers I give are based on the Quran and the authentic hadith. If it's something I can't answer, I'll get on the phone and call a real scholar that can. And I do have people monitoring me. I have Sheikh Abu Atayib who watches and follows me and corrects me. I have Sheikh Atlee. Sheikh Atlee will tell me if I'm wrong about something. Even Jamali will tell me if I'm wrong about something. But I'm going to sit here and help you to understand your deen without getting attached too deeply. I ain't in it for the fame. I ain't in it for the subscribers. I ain't in it for the popularity. Okay? It's all about distancing yourself. Doing this will free your heart from attachment. That doing this will keep your heart connected to the real homeland, which is paradise. I don't get no money for this. I don't have 1 million subscribers. Anybody on YouTube will tell you, in order to make the money, you got to have at least 1 million subscribers. I only have 11,000. So that'll tell you right there, she ain't looking for the money. My heart is attached to Allah. I'm trying to get good deeds. I'm trying to prepare myself with the good provisions that'll help me through that grave. That's what that hadith is talking about. That's what my stepfather was always telling me. Remember, Layla, your objective in life, my stepfather would say. What is your objective? Your objective is paradise. Never lose focus of that. Never lose focus. You like to write. I love to write. When I was a kid, I was writing for the school newspapers. I was writing for the Plain Dealer. I was in magazines writing. My stepfather said, you like to write, but don't get too attached to that, because fitna comes with that. Keep Allah first and foremost in your heart. Okay? I like school. I like learning, because I was a genius. My stepfather said, learn everything you can about the English language, because learning the English language will help you to be able to convey the message of Allah in the language the people understand. He said, but remember, Layla, Allah is first. Make sure everything you're doing is for Allah, and never, ever, ever stop learning those hadiths. Put Allah first. Again, the stranger abandons attachment to anything here. That's why when I had my daughter, I love my daughter, but I'm not too attached to her. I love my grandkids, but I'm not too attached to them, because children are gifts. They're loans given to us by Allah. They don't belong to me. They don't belong to you. Allah says our children belong to Him. They are temporary loans that He gives to us to see if we're going to love them more than Him. I don't love my grandkids more than Allah. I don't love my daughter more than Allah. I'm not too attached to them. I'm not attached to my mother. I love my mother, but I know when to hold and when to fold with her. I'm not attached to my brothers like that. I know when to hold and when to fold. I'm not too attached to food. I love food, but I don't overdo it, because I know that if I overdo it, I'll end up fat. I'll end up sick. I would love to be with a man. I would love to have a husband. I would love to have a man here with me right now, holding me, loving me, encouraging me. But it's not in the cards. So I accept the qadr of Allah and I keep it moving, because this world is temporary. Paradise, I ain't got to worry about that. I'll have all the love I want in paradise. I'll have all the support I want in paradise. There's no sadness there. There's no anxiety there. There's no GERD in paradise. I can eat all the food I want and not worry about getting sick. I can have babies and babies and babies and not worry about them disappointing me. That's the stranger. That's the advice the Prophet gave to Ibn Umar. Don't get too attached. Keep your objective in mind. Keep your eye on the sparrow. As my stepfather Yahya used to say, keep your eye on the sparrow. That sparrow is paradise. The second condition, the traveler. This entails lowering yourself in this life. In other words, not having any place that you really call a home. This is a person that moves along from one point of his journey to another, from one point until death. He never attaches too much to anything either, and he only takes the good. He takes the good from where he's traveled to. He only carries a luggage that's enough to get him from one place to another. If he's going to take a gift, it's something that's going to be a benefit to him in that grave. So that's what the Prophet meant when he said either be a stranger or a traveler. The bottom line is, in both of those scenarios, neither one of those people are attaching their hearts to this world. In both of those scenarios, their eye is on the ultimate target, the ultimate goal of paradise. They don't expect anything in this world, because Allah told us in the Quran that this world is a testing ground. So this traveler, he's not concerned with enjoyment. A lot of people will ask me, Sister Laila, all you do is teach Islam. You need to stop. And I always say, what am I going to replace it with? This is it. What do you want me to do? You want me to stop doing my classes on the internet and do what? Go to a henna party? Go visiting women and backbite and slander? What do you want me to do? It's not like I'm teaching people wrong. It's not like I'm making a whole bunch of mistakes. I got a PowerPoint here. I'm sticking to the Quran. I'm sticking to the Sunnah. I got people watching me. I got real teachers who will correct me if I'm wrong. They listening. So what do you want me to stop teaching for? I ask these brothers all the time. What am I supposed to replace it with? It ain't like I got children. My kids are grown. It ain't like I got a man in here. I'm alone. I retired from work. I paid my dues to society. I get a retirement check. What am I supposed to replace my teaching with? My teaching is remembrance of Allah. This is me, Laila, the stranger. I'm the stranger. No one understands me. No one attaches to me. I'm different. I'm not like any woman or any person you ever met. People think that my voice is loud, but Allah said it's supposed to be loud because I'm a daya. People think I'm eccentric. I am eccentric because what turns other people on don't turn me on. I'm not into this dunya. I'm not into babies. I'm not into cooking. I'm into La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, and I do it well. It ain't like I'm making mistakes up in here. I do this well. So what do you mean I need to stop teaching? Why? I ain't hurting you. And what would you have me replace it with? Henna parties? Y'all see the point? We're messed up as a nation. What did Aisha do? Aisha radiallahu anha, when her husband died, after she learned her lesson with the battle of the camel, how did Aisha radiallahu anha spend the rest of her time? Doing henna parties? Aisha opened up a school for orphan girls, and she took them in and she taught them to the deen. She was an advisor to Umar radiallahu anha and her father when they were the caliphs. Issues involving women and marriage, they would go to her for advice. People would travel from Syria, Iraq, to learn the religion from her. She had over 300 students. One of them became a teacher of Imam Malik. So what did she do? I'm not doing anything different than Aisha radiallahu anha. I'm doing nothing different than her. So what's wrong with me teaching Islam just twice a day? I'm not denying nobody their rights. I gave my daughter her rights. When my mother needed me, I was there for her. When my brothers needed me, I was there for them. When my grandkids need me now, y'all can see it behind the scenes, I'm there for them. So it ain't like I'm impeding on my rights to anyone. So how dare somebody tell me that I should stop teaching and do what? Henna party, sleep, eat food, flirt with men, get into some porn. What am I supposed to do? I mean, seriously, you sisters, think about that. Think about that. How would you respond if somebody told you that? How would you respond? Seriously, I want you guys to tell me, how would you respond if some brother told you, Sister Laila, you should stop teaching Islam? Really? And what would you have me do in this place? Seriously, that's how we are today. So again, guys, one of the best ways to practice Islam is to look at the advice. Look at the advice that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to his companions. And this is just one advice that he gave to Ibn Umar. He gave other advices too. When I grew up, my stepfather, he would speak to me with the advices that the Prophet gave to the different companions. But this one stood out the most with me. Do not attach yourself too much to the life of this world. Yes, we all know there's a time for this. There's a time for that. I don't just sit on the internet giving dawah all day, guys. I cook. I clean my house. I get my coffee. I wash my clothes. I watch my TV shows. Y'all know I'm into the Vampire Diaries. I'm into Teen Wolf. I watch my TV shows. I even got my book I'm writing in. I check on my grandkids. I check on my mother. I call my best friends. I know there's a time for this and a time for that, but don't ever tell me the 2 times I take for Allah is at 6:30 and 9:30. That's my time for Allah. I ain't going to replace him with nothing else. What else is there to replace him with? So we learn, guys, to not attach ourselves too much to the life of this world. Know that there's a time for this and a time for that. But we need to also look at ourselves as either a stranger or a traveler. Because if we did that, we would never get too comfortable in this world where we make the mistakes that we see these brothers, these dour brothers making on YouTube with the prayers in the street. We wouldn't make the mistakes that these brothers are making who are bashing the scholars, the early scholars who ain't here to defend themselves. We wouldn't make the mistakes that these people are making, slandering the companions, slandering the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We wouldn't make the mistakes that these Muslim women are making, softening their voices, making the men think that a woman like me is crazy because I'm loud. But because they're sensual, sexual in their voices and laughing and talking and ain't talking about nothing, that's the way a woman's supposed to be, we wouldn't make those type of mistakes if we didn't attach ourselves too much to this world. When we do that, we lose focus as to what Allah created us for. When we do that, we lose reality that this world is a testing ground. That's all it is. It's a testing ground. If we thought this way, guys, then our faith would be strong. Our faith would be true. So I'm going to leave all of you tonight with the question of, which one are you? Are you a stranger or are you a traveler? You should be at least one. If you're not a stranger, if you're not a traveler, then you're lost. All right, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Any questions or comments? Go ahead with it. And that's why these brothers are doing what they're doing. They're lost. They're no longer travelers. They're no longer strangers. They're too attached to this world. They've fallen for the fame, the money, the popularity, the women, and whatever else comes with it. All right. Any questions? Allah will always protect Islam. Allah doesn't need you, nor does he need me. That's a Sufi belief. Allah is the protector, not man. Allah is the sustainer, not man. Allah is the one who moves the heart, not man. There is no power. There is no might other than Allah, not man. All right. Any questions? Come on, people. Oh, here's Brother Tarek. I'm sorry. Let me look at his. I've missed it. He said, when it comes to Taraweeh, you still need to pray Isha. You pray Isha, then join in the Taraweeh, or do you join in Taraweeh? Okay, this is a good question. I want you guys to understand the Taraweeh prayer is a sunnah. It's not an obligatory prayer. To be honest, you don't have to ever in your life pray it, and Allah is not going to punish you for it. But the reason why we pray it is because of the great reward it brings. As the hadith we went over yesterday, the Prophet said, if you pray, if you a man and you pray the Taraweeh prayer in the mosque behind the imam, all your past sins are forgiven. But does the Taraweeh prayer bring more reward than Isha? No. Isha is an obligation. If you're not praying your obligatory prayers, Allah is not going to reward you for any of your voluntary deeds. Okay? So when you go to the mosque, you perform your Isha prayer first. And then after you make your Isha prayer, if the Imam has already started the Taraweeh, you join in and you will still get the reward. Even if you missed some rakats, you will get the reward of the whole Taraweeh prayer because Allah knows that it was your intentions to pray Taraweeh with the Imam. You understand? You understand, Brother Tarek? So when you go to the mosque before you even join Taraweeh, because your Taraweeh does not count unless you do Isha first. You go and pray for your 4 rakats for Isha. And then when you're done, just join in with the brothers. And you'll get the reward of the whole Taraweeh. I hope that's clear. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And remember, we talked about that hadith in our prayer class. Say, for example, you're praying the Taraweeh prayer, okay? And somebody comes in the mosque and he's getting ready to make Isha. Look at the extra rewards you brothers can get. One of you should pray the Isha prayer with him because that's extra reward too. Even if you've already prayed the Isha prayer, if you're doing Taraweeh and you see a brother comes into the mosque and he wants to get the reward of congregational prayer, but he has to pray Isha, you can go and make the Isha prayer with him. It'll count as an extra reward for you. That's what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made one of the companions do. The Prophet had led the people in prayer. Another man came who had not prayed it. The Prophet asked, who wants extra rewards? They all raised their hands. He said, one of you go and pray with him and you'll get extra reward. It'll count as a nafil prayer for you. So that's something that you brothers should do. When you are doing Taraweeh and you see another brother come in who hasn't made Isha, make Isha with him. Yes. Yeah, any other questions? I don't see. Yeah, I saw it, sister. I saw your question. Yeah. Okay, yes. And for the sister that just texted me that question, yes, just pay the ransom. If you had to break your fast today because you're pregnant, pay the ransom. You write that day down, put it as a check mark for another day. Yes. All right, guys, if there's no other questions or comments.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Somebody I know, she said to me that before Ramadan came, she was so motivated. And then when after Ramadan came, it's like she feels like she should be worshiping more. And she feels also some hardship. She feels some emotional hardship because she's going through some stuff. And she's feeling like, why am I feeling like this? It's Ramadan, you know? I should be more motivated. I should be worshiping more. She said she feels like she feels guilty. She's angry at herself.
Well, tell her that's a sign of weakness of faith because Ramadan ain't got nothing to do with your emotions. Okay? If she's going through stress in life, I mean, life is stressful. This is like I said in my lecture here, this is a testing ground. Do you guys think that just because it's Ramadan, where does Allah say because it's Ramadan, it's Christmas and bad things don't happen? People get killed in Ramadan. People die in Ramadan. Ramadan is a month of mercy, but don't get it twisted. Don't think that there's some jingle bell Christmas where nothing bad happens. You're going to be tested during Ramadan, just like the rest of us. I was tested last night when I stepped on that nail and had blood all over my house. You know, just because it's Ramadan does not mean that Allah is not going to test you. So tell her if she feels that she ain't motivated, get motivated. There's nothing nobody can do to help her with that. Handle her trials and get motivated. But motivation comes from strength of faith. Everybody's faith goes up and down. She's probably going through a weakness of faith, because it's normal for human beings to be unmotivated when they're being tested with trials. But tell her just carry on with her fast and do what Allah commands her to do. And she needs to make dua this month, asking Allah to give her the ability to handle her trials, give her the ability to be strong. Do you guys know that when the companions fought the Battle of Badr, when did they fight the Battle of Badr? That was the month of Ramadan. They were on the battlefield killing and being killed, and they were fasting. So what makes her think because it's Ramadan that all of a sudden everything is candy? See how far away we are from the companions? The companions fought the Battle of Badr during the month of Ramadan, and they hadn't even eaten or drink. They were on that battlefield fighting with no food and water in their stomach. So tell her to deal with life, get better, get stronger, learn her deen. The more we learn about Allah, the stronger we become as Muslims. That's why the Prophet said the strong believer is more loved by Allah than a weak one. Tell her to get and come to my classes, especially my 6:30 class and this class, because these are the two classes that will shape you, shape your faith, shape your Aqidah, and help you to become a strong believer so that she can handle the trials of life and fast and be motivated like those companions were. And Allah knows best. Yeah. Any other questions? And that's normal. Anybody else feeling that way? Any of you feeling that way? Getting into these classes. Don't let your personal jinn play on you because he knows you weak. Don't let your personal jinn cause you to kill yourself because you think you're supposed to be more motivated. Don't do that.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Yeah, don't do that, guys. That's for all my new shahadas in here. Yeah, don't let that jinn get in your head, sisters. Yeah, you're going to be tested. Exactly, Sister Michelle. You're going to be tested. In fact, more tests during Ramadan. My tests get bigger during Ramadan. Yeah. But just handle them. Keep it moving. Deal with it and keep it moving. I'm being tested right now. Real bad. Yeah. Exactly. And Sister Sandra says she's being tested real bad in this Ramadan. Me too. Girl, you should have seen all that blood that was on my floor yesterday with my foot. Plus other stuff. I got children and grandkids and all kind of issues going on. Girl, y'all don't know what's going on behind the scenes here. I got all kind of issues. You know I ain't even ate yet. Do y'all know we broke fast 10, 9, 8, 7, 5 hours ago. I haven't even eaten any food yet. I've been drinking water and stuff, but I just don't have the appetite. I don't have the appetite to eat because that's how stressed out I am. Yeah, I'm stressed. It ain't got nothing to do with this website. It's got to do with other personal stuff. Yeah. It never ends. Ramadan is just another month, a month of change. But that don't mean that you ain't going to get tested. Are you crazy? For some of us, it's worse. Yeah. Exactly, Sandra. MashaAllah. Effortless, the effortless relationship. Even the effortless couple here, guys, they say they being Kimmy and Abdullah, the effortless couple. They said they're being tested too with financial issues. Yeah. Just because it's Ramadan don't mean that you're supposed to be walking around motivated and bliss. Are you crazy? Yeah. The effortless couple. All right, guys, tomorrow is Wednesday, right? So we have yeah. Yeah, I am gonna eat something. I just don't want to get sick. I just don't like to eat during Ramadan because it's, I don't need that GERD. But I'm gonna eat something, y'all. I'm gonna eat something. I don't know what. I don't feel like it. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. We got the 6:30 class and the 9:30. It looks like it's Thursday. We're gonna have Dr. McBride, and also Friday. I don't know. I gotta call Brother Youssef. He's gotta change his time. Uh, but Dr. Ali is back. Yes, next week, guys, Dr. Ali. He will be doing Tuesdays at 7:30. He's going to speak about Ramadan, and he's going to answer questions about fasting and everything. Yeah, Dr. Ali is going to come in on Tuesdays to help me out. He's going to handle your Ramadan issues, your Ramadan questions and stuff on Tuesday. Exactly, alhamdulillah. Okay, guys, I'm going to log out for tonight. Subhana kala huma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum. Everybody have a good night, inshallah.